Ladies and gentlemen, you want to change your life? It starts with controlling your mind. I don't care how smart you are, how talented you are, how much potential you think you have. If you can't get a grip on your thoughts, you will always feel stuck, anxious, and reactive. Because here's the truth, your mind is the control center of everything you do. Every action you take, every word you speak, every decision you make, it all starts with a thought. And most people, they're letting their minds run the show on autopilot. They're not in control. They're just reacting to emotions, reacting to fear, reacting to what other people say, what social media says, what their past says. It's like letting a toddler drive a race car. Chaos. You have to wake up to the fact that your brain is wired for survival, not success. It's scanning for danger, for rejection, for failure. That's why your brain will talk you out of doing the hard things. That's why it convinces you to hit snooze, procrastinate, doubt yourself, shrink down. It's not because you're weak. It's because your brain thinks it's protecting you. But here's the good news. Just because that's your default doesn't mean it's your destiny. You can rewire your mind. You can train your thoughts. And when you do, everything starts to change. You stop overthinking and start executing. You stop doubting and start deciding. You stop replaying old failures and start rewriting new stories. It all starts with awareness. You cannot change what you don't notice. So the first step is catching yourself in those old, broken thought patterns. When you hear yourself thinking, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, pause. That's not a fact. That's a story. And just because you've been telling yourself that story for years doesn't mean it's true. You've got to challenge your thoughts the same way you challenge a friend who keeps lying to you. Start replacing those thoughts with truth. No, not toxic positivity. Truth. Like, I've done hard things before. I can do this again. I don't have to be perfect. I just have to keep going. I might not feel ready, but I am capable. This isn't about being fake or pretending everything's fine. It's about taking back the steering wheel. Because when your mind is in control, your life is in alignment. You stop chasing quick fixes and start building real foundations. You stop reacting to life and start creating it. And this takes practice. You don't train your mind once and call it done. This is daily work, mental reps. Just like you go to the gym to strengthen your body, you train your brain every day to focus, to stay disciplined, to stay calm under pressure. Meditation, journaling, visualizing your goals. These aren't fluffy habits. These are tools for rewiring your mind. Because when your mind is clear, your path becomes clear. And when your mind is strong, the noise of doubt, fear, and distraction gets quiet. You'll start to notice something powerful happens. You begin trusting yourself again. You start showing up with more confidence. You stop seeking approval and start living with purpose. And even when things go wrong, 'cause they will, you won't spiral. You'll reset. You'll learn. You'll rise. Controlling your mind doesn't mean never feeling fear. It means moving forward anyway. It means acknowledging the fear but not bowing to it. It means saying, yeah, this feels scary, but my goals are bigger than my fears. That kind of power, that comes from the inside. That's unshakable. So don't wait until you feel ready to control your mind. Start now. Start with one thought. Start with 5 seconds of courage. The moment you decide to stop letting your thoughts control you and start directing them with intention, that's the moment your life starts to shift. And this isn't motivation, this is a strategy. Success is not about being lucky, it's about being intentional. Every single day, in every single moment, choose the thought that aligns with the life you want to build. Choose the thought that pulls you forward. Choose the thought that reminds you who you are and what you're capable of. You want to win? Start here. Control your mind, and everything else starts falling into place. Your words are not just sounds. They are tools. They are weapons. They are blueprints for your reality. What you say, you start to believe, and what you believe, you start to become. This is why controlling your mouth is one of the most powerful things you will ever learn to do. Most people talk without thinking. They speak out of emotion, out of habit, out of fear. They say things like, I'm not good at that. I could never afford that. I'm just not that type of person, without realizing they are programming their minds with limitations. Every time you say something, you're reinforcing a message. The question is, what message are you reinforcing? When you constantly talk about your problems, you keep yourself trapped in them. When you keep saying you're broke, you train your brain to see lack, not possibility. When you joke about being lazy or procrastinating all the time, your subconscious is listening, and it takes that as a cue to keep you in that pattern. Your mouth is either moving you forward or holding you back. And the scary part? Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They don't realize their casual words are shaping their self-imposition. They don't understand that words once spoken create a ripple effect in the mind. Let's be real. How many times have you talked yourself out of something before you even tried? How many times have you said, I don't have what it takes, or that's just not who I am? That wasn't the truth. That was fear speaking through your mouth. And the more you let that voice speak, the louder it gets. Your words have a frequency. They either attract growth or they repel it. They either build momentum or kill it. This is why it's not enough to just think differently. You have to speak differently too. Because when you say something out loud, it creates commitment. You start aligning your actions with your words. If you say, I'm showing up for myself today, you start acting like it. If you say, I'm the kind of person who finishes what I start, you start shifting your behavior to prove yourself right. The opposite is also true. If you say, I'm terrible at this, your brain goes, okay, got it, and looks for ways to prove you right. Your mouth sets the standard, so you better make sure your words are working for you, not against you. And look, this doesn't mean you walk around faking it. This doesn't mean you pretend life is perfect when it's not. But it does mean you learn to speak with intention. You speak to empower, not to complain. You speak to create solutions, not dwell in problems. You speak with purpose, not just emotion. There's a difference between expressing yourself and sabotaging yourself. You can say this is hard and still follow it with, but I'm figuring it out. You can say I'm scared and still declare, but I'm moving forward anyway. It also means cutting out the negative language you casually toss around like it doesn't matter. The sarcasm, the self-deprecating jokes, the I'm so stupid comments. Those things seem harmless, but they're not. They chip away at your identity. They reinforce the idea that you're not capable, not worthy, not enough. And over time, you start to internalize that story. But guess what? You can change that story. Starting now. You can train your mouth to speak the language of growth. You can choose words that align with the life you're building, not the one you're trying to escape. Speak goals. Speak vision, speak faith, speak discipline, speak the kind of life you want to wake up to. Because what you say to yourself when no one's listening, that's the real conversation that shapes your destiny. And when you learn to master that voice, everything changes. Your confidence grows, your actions get bolder, your relationships improve, you become magnetic, because people are drawn to those who speak with clarity and conviction. So pay attention to your words, track them. Catch yourself in the act of speaking fear or failure and flip the script. Start small, one phrase at a time. Replace I can't with I'm learning. Replace I'm stuck with I'm in the process of growing. Replace this is who I am with this is who I'm becoming. Your words are creating your world, so start building something worth living in. Control your mouth and you take back your power. Because the most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. And when that conversation changes, your whole life follows. Money is emotional. That's the part nobody tells you. It's not just about numbers and spreadsheets. It's about mindset. And if you don't learn how to control your money, it will control you. But here's the twist. Controlling your money isn't really about money. It's about discipline, clarity, and emotional control. It's about learning to delay gratification, to think long-term, to stop reacting to every impulse. Most people think the reason they're struggling financially is because they don't earn enough. But that's rarely the real issue. The truth is, if you can't manage $100, you won't magically become responsible when you have $10,000. More money doesn't fix money problems, it just magnifies them. If you spend every dime you make, that's not an income problem. That's a behavior problem. And behavior comes from belief. What do you believe about money? Do you think it's scarce? Do you feel guilty having it? Do you see it as a tool or a trap? You have to be willing to face your money story. Because a lot of what you do with money isn't rational, it's emotional, it's learned, it's passed down. Maybe you grew up watching your parents struggle with bills, or maybe you saw them spend recklessly to escape their stress. Either way, those patterns didn't just disappear. They're still playing out in your life, unless you consciously rewrite them. And that starts with awareness. You have to stop avoiding your finances. You can't grow what you won't face. That means looking at your bank statements, tracking your spending, making a budget, not because it's restrictive, but because it gives you freedom. When you know where your money is going, you take back control. You stop wondering why you're always broke at the end of the month. You stop living in reaction and start operating from intention. You get honest. You say, okay, this is where I am. This is what I'm spending, and this is what needs to change. Controlling your money also means controlling your emotions. How many times have you bought something to feel better, to celebrate, to cope? That quick dopamine hit from a new outfit or a fancy dinner might feel good for 5 minutes, but if it's not aligned with your bigger goals, it's just self-sabotage disguised as self-care. You've got to decide, do you want short-term comfort or long-term freedom? Because you don't get both. Real financial control means learning to pause. It means stopping and asking, do I really need this? Is this helping me or hurting me? And if you mess up, good. That's where the growth happens. You don't build discipline without resistance. You build it by failing, recalibrating, and showing up again. It also means shifting how you think about money. Money is not the enemy. It's not evil. It's not something only lucky or special people get to have. Money is a tool. And when you learn how to use it, it builds freedom. It creates options. It gives you the ability to invest in yourself, your future, and your purpose. But that only happens when you stop chasing it emotionally and start managing it strategically. That means building savings, paying off debt, investing, yes, even if it's just a little at a time. It means setting goals not just for what you want to buy, but for the kind of life you want to create. A life where you're not chained to your job. A life where emergencies don't send you spiraling. A life where you're in charge, not your credit card, not your bills, not your fear. And here's the thing, controlling your money doesn't mean you never have fun. It means you plan for fun. You set aside money to enjoy life without wrecking your progress. That's real power. Being able to enjoy today while still building tomorrow. That's balance. That's maturity. That's financial intelligence. So stop telling yourself you're bad with money. That's not your identity. That's a habit. And habits can be changed. You are capable of learning, growing, and taking ownership of your financial life. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional, one small shift at a time. Because at the end of the day, money is just a reflection of your choices. And when you start making better choices, you start seeing better results. Not overnight, but consistently. And that consistency compounds. That's how you build wealth. That's how you build peace. That's how you build freedom. Control your money and you start controlling your future. Most people are waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel confident, waiting to feel motivated. But here's the truth. If you wait on your emotions to decide your actions, you'll be waiting forever. You are not always going to feel like doing the hard things. You are not always going to feel strong, brave, or prepared. And that's okay, because emotions are signals, not instruction. They're not orders. They're not commands. They're simply information. But most people don't treat them that way. They feel fear and they freeze. They feel doubt and they pull back. They feel discomfort and they retreat. That's not control. That's surrender. Learning to control your emotions doesn't mean you shut them down. It doesn't mean you pretend they don't exist or power through everything like a robot. It means you get in the habit of noticing how you feel and then deciding what to do anyway. Emotions are like weather. They come and go. Some days are sunny, some days are stormy. But just like you wouldn't cancel your entire life because it's raining, you don't cancel your goals because you feel nervous or tired or unmotivated. You learn to feel it and move through it. There's this belief that successful people are just more motivated, that they wake up inspired every day and leap into action with joy and confidence. Nope. They're just better at acting despite how they feel. They've built the muscle of doing the work anyway. They've trained themselves to move even when it's uncomfortable. That's emotional control. It's not denial, it's discipline. You can feel afraid and still show up. You can feel uncertain and still make a decision. You can feel exhausted and still give your best. This is how you separate the people who wish from the people who win. The ones who wish they could change keep waiting for their feelings to cooperate. The ones who win show up regardless. They've stopped making emotions the boss. Instead, they've learned to see emotions for what they are, messages, not orders. You feel fear? That's your brain trying to protect you. It doesn't mean stop. It means proceed with awareness. You feel resistance? That usually means you're doing something that matters. Resistance is a sign you're stretching. Doubt? It means you're growing, because growth always brings uncertainty. You've never been here before. Of course you're unsure. That's not a red light. That's a sign to keep going. But this takes practice. Emotional control is a skill, and like any skill, it requires reps. You start by noticing. You pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Where is this coming from? Is this emotion based in truth or fear? And then you choose your action. You take one small step. That's how you take your power back. You stop being a slave to your feelings and start being the leader of your life. This is especially important when things get tough. Because let's be honest, life will hit you, you will fail, you will fall, you will face days where nothing goes according to plan. And in those moments, your emotions will scream at you to quit, to give up, to shrink. But if you've trained yourself to respond, not react, you won't collapse. You'll adapt. You'll reset. You'll keep moving forward, not because you feel like it, but because you've made a decision that your future matters more than your mood. And here's something else. Emotional control isn't about always being calm and composed. It's about being honest. It's about giving yourself space to feel without letting those feelings dictate your direction. You can cry and still be strong. You can feel lost and still take the next step. You can be scared and still be courageous. That's the paradox of growth. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's action in the face of fear. And when you start living that way, you become unstoppable. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for confidence to magically show up. Confidence is built through action. It's built through doing the hard things while your heart is pounding. It's built by showing yourself you can handle discomfort, pressure, and uncertainty. The more you act, the more confident you become. The more you act, the more your emotions begin to follow. This is your life, and no one else gets to decide how you live it. Not your fear, not your doubt, and not your feelings on a hard day. You do. And when you master your emotional state, when you stop letting temporary feelings make permanent decisions, you become powerful. You become free. Discipline is freedom. Most people think discipline is a punishment, something rigid and restrictive that takes the joy out of life. But that's because they don't understand what real discipline is. Discipline is not about being perfect. It's not about following every rule or checking every box. It's about being consistent with the choices that align with who you want to become. It's about showing up when it's easier to quit. It's about keeping promises to yourself, even when no one's watching. You don't need more motivation, you need structure. Motivation is a feeling, it comes and goes, it's unreliable. But discipline? Discipline is a decision. It's you deciding every single day that your goals matter more than your excuses. It's choosing long-term gain over short-term comfort. And that choice? That's power. Because when you learn how to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it, you stop waiting for change and start becoming the change. Think about the most successful people you know. They don't have some magical secret. They've just mastered the boring stuff. They do the hard things, the unsexy things, the repetitive things over and over again. They've trained themselves to work when it's inconvenient, to say no when it's tempting, to keep going when it's frustrating. That's not luck. That's not talent. That's discipline. You want results? You want real transformation? Then you need to build routines that support that. You need to stop living by how you feel and start living by what you've decided. Wake up early even when you're tired. Say no to distractions even when they look fun. Stick to your plan even when it's uncomfortable. Not because it's easy, because it's necessary, because discipline is what builds momentum, and momentum is what builds success. And let's be honest, it won't always feel good. You will have days when you want to give up, days when it feels like nothing is working, days when your old habits whisper, just skip it this once. But those are the moments that define you. Anyone can be disciplined when it's easy. It's who you are when it's hard that matters. That's when you earn your growth. That's when you separate yourself from the crowd. Most people break in those moments, but not you. You hold the line. You show up. You keep going. Because discipline is not just about habits, it's about identity. Every time you follow through, you reinforce the belief that you are the kind of person who shows up. You build trust with yourself. And that self-trust, that's everything. That's what fuels confidence, resilience, and grit. When you know you can count on you, there's nothing you can't do. But you have to start small. Don't try to overhaul your life in one day. Build discipline one choice at a time. One decision, one action, one step. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. Your brain starts to adapt, your standards start to rise. What used to feel hard becomes your new normal. That's the magic of discipline. It creates a new baseline for your life. And remember, discipline is not punishment, it's an act of self-respect. It's saying, I value myself enough to do what's hard now so I can live how I want later. It's taking control of your time, your habits, your energy. It's refusing to settle for a life of mediocrity and distraction. Discipline creates the space for your potential to grow. It protects your goals. It builds the life you dream about. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop chasing motivation. Choose discipline. Choose consistency. Choose the hard path now so you can live with freedom, pride, and power later. Because when you become a disciplined person, you become unstoppable. You don't rise and fall with your moods. You rise with your mission. You don't shrink in discomfort. You expand through it. You don't talk about change. You become it. That's how success is built. Not in grand gestures, but in daily discipline. Not in moments of hype, but in habits of excellence. Show up, do the work, keep your word. That's how you win. Your environment is shaping you more than you realize. The people you surround yourself with, the energy you allow into your life, the habits you normalize, these things either pull you forward or hold you back. You could have all the goals in the world, but if your environment is filled with negativity, distractions, and low standards, you will constantly be swimming upstream. Your environment isn't just where you live. It's what you allow. It's who you listen to. It's what you consume. It's what you tolerate. You have to protect your space like your life depends on it, because it does. Your mental space, your emotional space, your physical space, they all matter. You can't grow in chaos. You can't thrive around constant drama. You can't focus when you're surrounded by noise, clutter, or energy that drains you. You need clarity. You need peace. You need an environment that supports the version of you that you're working to become, not the one you're trying to outgrow. This means making some hard choices. It might mean distancing yourself from people you love but who aren't growing. It might mean stepping away from conversations that revolve around gossip, complaining, or fear. It might mean turning off the TV and tuning into your own goals. It might mean cleaning up your space so your mind has room to breathe. It might mean saying no to invitations, distractions, and expectations that no longer align with where you're. This is not about being better than anyone else. It's about choosing what's best for your growth. Because the truth is, your energy is sacred. You only get so much of it each day, and you can't afford to waste it on people or environments that drain it. You need to be around people who challenge you to level up, people who inspire you to keep going, people who are building something too, not just talking about it. And if you don't have that yet, you can create it. You can create a digital environment that fuels you. Listen to podcasts that expand your thinking. Watch videos that teach you something. Read books that speak life into you. Follow people online who are doing what you want to do. Curate your feed so it becomes a source of motivation, not comparison. And don't just consume, apply. Use what you learn. Let it push you into action. You can also upgrade your physical space. You don't need a mansion to create an environment of growth. Start with what you have. Clean up your room. Organize your workspace. Create a space that feels good to be in. A space that says, this is where progress happens. Put up visual reminders of your goals. Write your dreams where you can see them. Eliminate distractions, even if that means putting your phone in another room while you work. Build a space that aligns with your vision. And don't forget the inner environment. The thoughts you entertain, the beliefs you hold, the standards you live by. These are the foundation of everything. You have to become your own hype person. You have to catch the negativity before it spreads. You have to reframe the doubt before it takes root. That means speaking life into your goals, even when they feel far away. It means affirming your growth, even when it's uncomfortable. It means setting boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. Because your environment includes your habits too. What you do daily is either building momentum or breaking it. Are your habits aligned with where you want to go? Are you surrounding yourself with actions that lead to results or ones that lead to regret? You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And your systems live inside your environment. So look around, look within. Ask yourself, is this helping me grow or holding me back? And if the answer isn't clear, it's time to make it clear. You don't have to overhaul everything at once. Just start small, one shift at a time. Upgrade one corner of your space. Remove one toxic input. Add one positive influence. Then do it again. Because over time, these small environmental shifts become massive internal upgrades. You become sharper, more focused, more grounded. You feel lighter, more energized, more capable. You start to move different, think different, speak different, and most importantly, you start to live different. That's the power of your environment. It's not just influencing your results, it's shaping your identity. So shape it on purpose, build it with intention, design a life that supports the greatness you were built for. Success doesn't happen by accident. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's not reserved for the chosen few. Success is a formula, a pattern of decisions, behaviors, and mindset shifts repeated over time. And the ultimate formula? It's simple but not easy. Control your mind, your mouth, and your money. That's the foundation. That's where everything begins and everything grows, because when you take control of those three things, you stop reacting to life and you start creating it. Your mind is the command center. It's where every decision starts. And if your thinking is cluttered, negative, or weak, everything else will follow that energy. That's why mindset work is not a luxury, it's a necessity. You need to train your thoughts like you would train your body. You need to become aware of the patterns that hold you back, the beliefs you inherited, the fears you've normalized. Because what you think, you create. If your mind is filled with limitations, you'll live a limited life. If your thoughts are full of excuses, you'll see reasons to stay stuck. But when you take control of your mind, when you challenge your assumptions, feed it truth, and focus on solutions, you begin to unlock levels of potential you didn't even know existed. Now, your mouth, what you say out loud, either builds your future or breaks it down. Words are powerful. They shape your reality. What you speak reinforces what you believe. If you're constantly saying, I can't, I don't know, or I'm not ready, you're reinforcing hesitation, doubt, and fear. And if you keep speaking those things, you'll start to believe them without even questioning them. But if you start speaking with intention, words of courage, commitment, and clarity, your mind will start to follow. Your language should reflect your vision, not your limitations. Speak about your goals like they're already on the way. Speak with ownership. Speak with faith. Speak with discipline. And your money? This is where a lot of people fall short. Because we've been taught to chase money emotionally, not manage it strategically. But money is a tool. When you learn to control it, everything in your life becomes easier. You don't need millions to feel powerful. You need clarity, consistency, and control. You need to stop spending impulsively and start investing intentionally. Budgeting, saving, building. It's not boring. It's not restrictive. It's smart. It's freedom. When you know how to manage money, you stop living paycheck to paycheck, not just financially, but emotionally. You stop being reactive and start being proactive. When you put these three together, mind, mouth, money, you create a system of self-leadership. You're not at the mercy of your moods, your past, or your surroundings. You're in the driver's seat. You become the kind of person who doesn't just dream, but does. Who doesn't just talk, but takes action. Who doesn't just wish for a better life, but builds one. It's important to understand that this formula isn't a one-time event. It's a lifestyle, a practice. Some days you'll nail it, other days you'll fall short. That's okay. The goal isn't perfection, the goal is progress. Every time you catch a limiting belief and replace it with truth, you're rewiring your brain. Every time you choose to speak with intention instead of insecurity, you're reinforcing confidence. Every time you make a smart financial decision instead of a reactive one, you're building your future. The results may not be instant, but they will be inevitable if you stay consistent. Success is not built on intensity, it's built on repetition. It's the daily choice to lead your mind, manage your mouth, and master your money. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Start where you are, start with what you have, and then keep going. You are more powerful than you think. You are more capable than you feel. But your future depends on what you do today. So take ownership. Stop blaming. Stop waiting. Control what you can control. And those three things, your mind, your mouth, and your money, are always within your control. That's your power. That's your edge. That's the ultimate success formula. You don't need more time. You don't need more approval. You need a plan. And this is it. Master your mindset, speak like a leader, handle your money like your future depends on it, because it does. That's how you break cycles. That's how you build something that lasts. That's how you win.